Thank you for listening to this episode of Changes Big and Small. Today's guest is Ana Lennyer. Ana is the host of a radio show, True Secrets of Life, where she shares skills and strategies to prevent and overcome heartbreak, anxiety, and depression for teenagers and adults. Ana, welcome to Changes Big and Small.
Thank you for inviting me, Damiana. Thank you.
Let's start. What does true love mean to you?
True love means a love where there is no pain involved. So you're not afraid of heartbreak. You're not coming into a relationship in any way, shape, or form closed in because you were suffering in the past that you haven't healed. One of our things that we do is we heal from heartbreak, because if you're just going from a relationship to another, you bring pain into it. And then the relationship has to do with pain. It's just a matter of time until it explodes. A relationship based on true love means trust, respect, understanding, and evolving as an individual as well as with your partner. And you can transform in relationship. People change, specifically women change all the time in relationships. Men don't change so much. So understanding how this dynamic works, you can play the game of relationship and have true love associated with growing and expansion. Because yes, you can do more things in a couple than you can do by yourself. But if there is pain involved, you're going to stop yourself from doing those things. So this is what true love means for me.
You said that women change all the time, but
Yes.
not men. Tell me more about that.
We change every month. So there are changes in our system. We are built for change. We have kids. Well, men don't change their blood. They don't change so quickly. For men to change has to be usually a tremendous amount of pain and suffering involved. And they grow slower than the women. When they're coming to me, they're all the time saying, my husband never changed. And he's saying, my wife changed. Men expect the women to never change. Women, they want men to grow, to evolve, to do more. And they don't understand. They always think that, oh, we're getting married, and then I'm going to change my husband. I'm going to change his behavior. We're very good at manipulation as women. And we think that by manipulating them, we have something to win. And the only thing we win is conflict.
Good at manipulation, or we think we're good at manipulation?
We are good at manipulation, but also men are very good at noticing it.
That's what I mean, because it stops working when the person...
They see through it. I mean, it's not like you've never seen somebody that's tried to manipulate you in a way or another. You have seen that. What can be new secrets that I teach is how to understand the relationship, because it matters. Your partner, the right one for you, might not be the right one for me.
The second part, when you talked about true love, you also talked about evolving alone and evolving together. And when I think of evolving, I think, okay, that means that as change happens, people have to continue to be aligned, that there needs to be check-ins on some sort of cycle.
Alignment, but it's a little bit different. So the game is played with 4 pieces. There are 4 types of men and 4 types of women. And most men and women have 2 of these types, more predominant, or just 1, which is really bad. If they have 3 or more, it's better. So just to give you an idea about the 4 men and women archetype, which I always teach on my course, truelovesecrets.org, there is the water person, the fire person, the air person, the earth person, and these are men and women. They're different, men and women. So let's say we have 2 of them. Let's say you have water and earth as a woman. You're going to attract a man that has fire and air. Exactly what you don't have. It's how attraction works. But attraction is conflict because you're similar in certain ways. You're different in certain ways. But you understand that you have to depend on one another because it's different energies. And you said, oh, my husband is my rock, or my wife was my rock, or things like that. So you are building in relationship crutches instead of learning from each other. But the game is only played on 4 pieces: water, fire, air, and earth. Depends where you are and where the other person is. Let's say you're both air, you're both fire, the relationship has to separate. It doesn't work like that. You're knocking heads. You won't probably even be attracted by these people. So It's very simple. Here is the trick. You need to know exactly who you are. You need to know exactly who you're going to attract in your life and how to play on these pieces to get what you want, not somebody broken on a square out there. For example, I am fire and air. I will always attract men who are water and earth. But if I am in the negative side of my two squares, of my two positions, I'm going to find broken men on the other two positions. And that's going to be a problem. You can change positions at any time if you know how to change them. And you can incorporate all four in your life in the positive side of the element. When you do that, then you're going to find somebody that is stable with you. So you need to know exactly who you are to make sure that you're not suffering. For example, I am a queen. I am an air element. So it's very simple in my life to find watermen. Watermen in the positive side of the element are poets. Well, I'm not satisfied with a poet because I am a woman of action. I intimidate the poet. So I need to master the other elements to make sure I don't scare anybody, specifically my husband. These kind of positions need to be identified and mastered. That is a position of empowerment. That is in each one of them, a position of failure, a position where pain resides and makes you jealous and makes you narcissist and makes you abusive and makes you depressed.
I'm wondering, how do I know who I am? How do I know what other people are?
Exactly. We have a course for that. It's 3.5 hours to know what other people are. But it's quite simple if you think about it. The water element is the one that's the princess or the creator element. It's also the victim. The fire element is like me all the time in the red. It's like Angelina Jolie. There are a lot of actors, a lot of managers in that position. It's like, let's go, 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 go. People get exhausted to keep on going nonstop. It's too much. These are the fire elements. Air elements are CEOs of companies. They have business, they have vision. They're like Elon Musk. They don't care about the family, exactly like me. I have a kid home, but my kid has to learn to manage by himself because I have to travel to save people from depression. Sorry, you are a secondary part of the equation right now because there are so many people hurting in the world. So I am the air element, the business element. Let's go, let's do it. Let's see the vision. And then I have to explain it to my team. The earth element will be the king, the one that takes care of all the household, the domain, or the mother that takes care of being a soccer mom, takes care of the garden, takes care of the kids, the pets, everything else. It's an element of stability where values reside, where you're building things. Everything else up to that level is just conceptual, if you think about it. But on the other side, looking at these elements, for example, let's say that you want to build a table. The idea of making a table, that is water. Fire will be the drive that I really want to take this table into the world because it's just an amazing design, an amazing table. Air is like, I'm working on it. I'm actually making the table. And earth is the result, the actual table.
So if somebody is listening and they think, oh, I really want to attract somebody who is a fire person, then that means they shouldn't be a fire as well, because that's not going to work.
And the fire, for men specifically, they put their women first. In these 4 types of men specifically, there is only one that puts the women first. That's the fire man. But most women feel attracted to air men who never cares about the family, his vision, his freedom. He's not built for raising kids. He's just not built for that. That is the earth element. If you are a man and you want your women to love you, nothing else. If you pick a water woman that's not broken, that's not depressed, that woman is going to make you rich. That woman doesn't even know how to drive, doesn't know how to open a computer, doesn't know how to send an email, never worked a day in her life. But that woman, just by loving you the right way, gives the man the energy. You need to know who you are and who you want to be able to switch these energies. For example, I'm a businesswoman, right? I get people out of depression, stuff like that. If I talk the same way I talk to you or on these videos or in my radio show, The True Secrets of Life, if I do these things with my husband, I will not have a husband. Very simple. Here, you need to know when you're coming home is like, honey, you're in charge now. I was in charge with everything out there, with everything that I need to do for my business. When he's gone, I'll take care of a house. I'm in charge of a house. When he is here, I don't know anything. I don't even know where the spoon is. I do know, but it's just I shut down one door to give him the opportunity to be a king in his own house.
Is that the only way to be as a woman in a successful relationship?
I need to step out of my own element to go into another one. This is why I said that the game is played in just 4 squares. You need to master them all and to know when to retreat. I'm in that strength, I'm in that element, I'm in that passion where, I take over very easily everything and everybody. But I make sure he sees as less as possible of me as a CEO of my own company and more as me as a woman, as his wife, that he needs to take care of.
So let's focus on one of these elements for women that they should work on developing in their life. Which one would that be?
That depends who you are. You need to work on all of the others. That's the amazing thing.
Let's say that we don't know anything about this. People have just gotten exposed to these ideas for the first time, listening to you. What should they think about in terms of the way that they show up in relationships?
Women, because probably your audience is more women, they should think about, do you consider yourself a Bambi or a Godzilla as a woman? Like, for example, I'm Godzilla. I'm clearly Godzilla, right? I'm clearly with that male energy. My voice, how I behave, how my body type, everything. So do you consider yourself more as a Bambi or more of a Godzilla? That's the first question. Bambi, you will be water, which means either a creator, a person calm, relaxed, slower, introvert, or a mother with garden, with kids, with pets, with things like that. Even if you don't have kids, you can have pets and garden. Godzilla would be fire. Fire would be like, you like high heels, you like to dress in red, you like to be seen, you like to move your butt, you like to be beautiful, you never come out of house with no makeup. Or the air element, like I am, businesswoman, talking to men, being on stage with millionaires, mostly, all of them men, not feeling any kind of, I'm different, just
intimidation or
Exactly. So who are you? Are you more Bambi or more Godzilla? That's the first thing. Because who you are, you're going to attract the opposite. So let's say that you are more Godzilla, you're going to attract men that never have a plan. I was thinking about doing this, and like you were thinking about for the last 10 years, and you didn't do anything. It's like slow people that you cannot rush. They get emotionally troubled. It's like, oh, this is too much for me. I'm overwhelmed. This is what you're going to attract if you're a Godzilla like me. And then if you are a Bambi, then you're going to attract Godzilla men. Godzilla men are the ones abusive, are the narcissists, are the ones that are using you, are the ones that are going to put you in the corner immediately, right?
You're listening to Changes Big and Small with Damian President. Changes Big and Small will help you take action in your life with intention and purpose. In each episode, I invite you to accept unexpected challenges that will help you take action to live the life that you want. And these are in the worst case, right? Like not all Godzilla men are that way.
So here you need to make sure, number one, that there is no pain that you carry. Every pain that you carry, any kind of emotional wounding needs to be resolved. Because you're just going to find somebody that's going to poke at it, wounds. That is why relationship happened, because you need to grow, evolve, and you cannot grow in pain. So you're going to find somebody that's just going to keep poking on your wounds. So that's the first thing you need to make sure you don't drag with you any kind of pain. Can be from the past relationships, can be from your family, you can be from heartbreak, can be anything. And the second thing, how do you master 4 energies that we talked about? Water, fire, air, and earth. Because if you master them all, then you're emotionally balanced. Then you don't depend on a man. No matter who he is, you're going to find somebody balanced, and you're going to have a true love relationship. not just a relationship that gets destroyed after 2 to 7 years. A true love relationship based on trust, respect, understanding, and evolving, and based on the fact that you're growing, not codependent on another. You're interdependent on each other, and you're fine by yourself. So at the end of my course, which is 3.5 hours, I usually tell everybody, you need to get to the moment where you have a relationship and say, honey, I love you. I want to be with you, but I'm going to be fine without you. And they have to say the same. That moment, that's true love.
Ana, I know you have a course and people can learn more about it.
The course is on truelovesecrets.org.
Okay.
And we have a radio show and an academy on truesecretsoflife.com. The price of the academy is $27 for a whole year access. But we do have a relationship course because the relationship course is very important. It's not only important on how you date, how you find the partner. It's important how you keep the partner. It's important how you transform your partner. Maybe you're in a marriage and you feel bad. Understanding how your partner thinks before he speaks is very important. Understanding specifically how an airman thinks before he speaks. He never cares about family. He will tell you whatever. But you need to know how he thinks before you start having kids with him, because that's going to be a disaster. In the meantime, you can have kids with an earthman because those care to put you first for your family. The waterman doesn't really care too much except for his creation, not even his success in creating. He just cares about what he puts in the world out there. Each one of these men, you punish them in a different way. You do not want to punish an airman or an earthman having fits or not giving them sex or stuff like that. You're going to be off the door in 1 hour. You need to know how to maneuver them without them being forced into anything that they don't want. So maneuver them, but not manipulate them.
Besides checking out your websites and learning about your courses, is there some invitation that you have for listeners of something they can do to have healthier relationships wherever they are in their life?
When I first started in this journey, I was depressed for 27 years of my life. And most of the reason why I was depressed was because I never healed from my first marriage. I went to the second one and I dragged all my pain with me. And the second one got destroyed. So you think you heal, but until you don't do the right steps, you don't open your heart and you don't bring any kind of pain involved in it, like shame, rejection, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, heartbreak, any of these things, or just misconceptions about love. One of our modules in our course is misconceptions about love, because everybody thinks that I'm going to give them everything and they should love me back. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. That's not what they want, for you to suffocate them. They want to live their own space. So misconceptions about love is the first thing we talk about. Never get into a relationship until you're fully knowing what you're doing. Very simple. Otherwise, you're just going to get hurt over and over again. And at some point, you become emotionally numb. You're closing your heart. You stop looking for a partner.
Are you enjoying listening to this podcast? Please take a minute to review it wherever you're listening. This helps other people find the show. Is there a small action? Is there something that people can do in a few minutes to get started on this journey?
In a few minutes to get started on the journey, think about what you have solved and what you haven't solved. Think about what you have learned from previous relationships. And when you put it down on paper, what you have learned, it cannot be negative. So there is nothing negative that you can put down. You haven't learned it, if there is anything negative. So put only on paper positive things you have learned from relationships. Start there.
I'm just thinking about the no negative things.
I was like, exactly. What are you going to put on? It cannot be negative. It cannot be like, I'm never going to meet a guy who does that. I'm never going to meet a girl. No. Cannot be negative or with any kind of negative connotation.
I remember going on a date with a guy once, and I was from out of town. We'd been talking online for a while, and he said, "Oh, when you're in town, I'll take you out." And I was kind of excited because I was like, oh, great, he'll plan something for us to do. I remember showing up and he had no plans. Basically, the plan was for us to meet. And then he presented me with a litany of choice. We can do this, or we can do this, or we can do that. And I remember feeling exhausted because I expected him to, it's his city, to have a plan.
All these are not gentlemen. We make the selection between ordinary men who do not have a plan, who do not know how to become protectors of a woman. Because if you would have had a plan, you would have felt protective, right? We're going there. Even if I don't like it, it's okay. I'm going to find something that I like to eat. It's not a big deal. One guy one time invited me to a seafood restaurant. And guess what? I don't eat seafood too much. Something, I ate a little bit of seafood. I was not allergic or anything. It's okay. It was wonderful. It's all right. Okay. Poor men didn't know that I don't eat seafood. But, the gesture makes you feel protective. And then they're gentlemen. So you just found a regular man who is always trying to please you, to give you all these options. And then they're gentlemen, those that take control, but not in a bad way. They have the plan. Even if you're not comfortable with a plan, like, you don't eat seafood, it's fine. I found some vegetables there and some rice, not a big deal. So things like this, that it matters who you are too. Are you a woman or are you a lady? Because this is also how you're going to attract.
I was reflecting on this because I'm the planner. Whenever I go out with friends or whenever we're going on a trip or anything like that, I'm the person who does the research and has, okay, in the morning, this is what I'd like to do. In the afternoon, this is what I'd like to do. I'm not usually the person who's like, oh, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I have opinions.
I told you always find the opposite to learn. Listen, this guy was very relaxed by making somebody else make the choices. You were not. But in a relationship as a woman, you don't feel protected by such men. They're just regular men. They're not gentlemen. You want somebody that has more power to it. And to find somebody with more power than you need to step a little bit back.
So then I'm thinking, like, how would he know though? Because
it's a matter of energy and attraction. That's it.
So if I want a man who's a planner, that means I can't be a planner in other areas of my life?
You can be a planner in other things, but you need to step into the Bambi energy that you don't know anything where the spoon is when you're with him. So seriously step into that energy, not fake it.
But it sounds like it's not even when just with him, because then if it's a matter of energy, then it transcends that particular interaction with that person, right?
But if you know exactly how to switch between the four squares, I switch all the time. You should see how I go out when I want something from somebody, how I play Bambi and how it's like, oh, thank you very much. You're so amazing. And everybody looks at me, what, is she the same person? Does she has multiple personalities? But the men are just coming to help me, right? And one time was a guy, can I help you with the waters? Yes, they're so heavy. And I was thinking he barely was helping me with the waters, like I can pick you up and the waters, But I really stepped into that energy of really thanking him, of being genuine into that energy, because the moment you can do this, it's when you know how to switch on and off.
I think that requires a bit of a mindset shift, because I can think of a friend who does this very well. And sometimes watching her do this is very uncomfortable for me, because the story that I say is that it's inauthentic, switching so much all the time.
Steps into the energy. Like when I tell a guy, you're wonderful and you're amazing, I find something that I believe is really wonderful and amazing at that guy. Doesn't matter if it's his eyes, doesn't matter if it's how he dresses. Maybe I don't find that to all of a guy and everything is wonderful and amazing about him, but I really find a spot that I believe it's wonderful and amazing at this person. So it's not I'm lying in any way, shape, or form. I just find something that I can hold on to be genuine, not inauthentic. But yes, you're at the level of exactly like I used to be, the level of perfectionism. And I have to show men what I can and what I do and what my job is and how much I accomplished. And they don't care about that. I never care about that.
No, not so much about showing men, but what I'm thinking is that it connects back to what you said about doing your own work as well. Because I think that generosity with other people also takes from how generous you are to yourself. And so when you talk about being perfectionist, this morning I was doing a meditation on love, on not finding, but expanding your capacity to love. And one of the instructions was to think about some positive experience that you were very enthusiastic about. Afterwards, I was reflecting that, okay, this was harder than it should have been. So I'm like, okay, you need to do this more as a habit. Like you need to do this more often because it was too difficult. You've been very fortunate in your life. There are lots of things you are thankful for, but you were thinking too hard about it. And I think it's back to that perfectionism. What's big enough to be appreciated as opposed to everything can be appreciated.
It's perfectionism, and on the other side, you don't want to be extremely vulnerable to people that don't deserve to know your vulnerability because you're afraid of being hurt. We've always been like that. That's why I love when I teach these kind of things. You know exactly who is hurt from the first date. You know exactly why they're hurt. There are things you pick up on, what element they are. Okay, they can have this. You can even ask, have you ever been depressed? And I said, yeah, I've been depressed just a couple of years. Oh, what did you do to fix it? Well, you see, I just, went into my work and stuff like that. Oh, so you didn't do any kind of personal development work. You didn't do any kind of healing work, which means there's still reminiscence about it. And guess what? You're going to drag us into a relationship with me. So if I think I'm going to save you, that's not going to happen. You have to save yourself. I have a lot of customers who come to me like, my husband suffers from anxiety. I'm like, okay, send your husband to me. Doesn't want to come. Well, if he's not ready to get rid of his anxiety, you cannot get rid of his anxiety for him. Very simple. I understand you're a wife, but the only thing you can, get rid of the anxiety for your child. I'll show you how, but not for a husband or for your mother. For yourself and for your child up to the age of 25. That's all I can help you with. We want as women to give everything, thinking that we're going to receive back, but it depends on what element the man is, because each element thinks in a different way, behaves in a different way. We're going to tell you one thing and mean another. It's very easy to identify. And once you get entangled into the situation, it is a little bit harder to maneuver, but it's not impossible because it's harder to divorce, for example, or to separate. So I tell people all the time, if you think about divorcing or separating, don't. They're like, what do you mean? If you physically abuse, yeah, go. But if you think you're mentally or psychological or emotionally abused, don't. Because you can fix it faster into the relationship instead of separating and then suffer for years. It's harder to fix when you separate. And people don't understand that. There's like, I'm just going to run away. You're running away from your own pain too. You're still going to have to fix that relationship sooner or later. You cannot step into another one. It might take years. It might take decades if you don't know what to do. So fix it. Even if you end up separating at the end, doesn't matter. You separate as best friends, as very good friends. We move in different directions, and that's totally fine. It takes 6 weeks instead of years and years of suffering after that. So here is a lot of misconceptions, a lot of running away from your own pain, a lot of not understanding that you brought pain to a relationship. For example, I brought depression into both of my marriages because my generation, it was like the third generation of people depressed in my family. It's easy to blame the partner. They said, oh, you did this and you did that. But I'm responsible. I brought in a lot of pain. So here is how do you take responsibility for yourself instead of just getting more and more hurt? Or at some point emotionally numb, or at some point like, oh, all men are like this, all women are like that. It's easy to move all this pain from one relationship to another, person to another. It depends how do you switch between these four squares energetically and how healed you are.
So if you're single or dating or in a relationship, how do you know that you're ready? And maybe ready is not the right word.
The moment when you don't need somebody. So I'm happy. I am happy. I can be with you or I cannot be with you. It doesn't affect my happiness. We can be happy together or we can be happy separate. That moment, you're not looking for codependent situation. You're not subconsciously looking for love because you don't have it and because you need it. You need somebody to love you. That moment, everything switches. I love you, but I'm going to be fine without you. Your decision, how you feel. That's fine.
I was listening to a meditation today with Tara Brach, and she was talking about this concept of grasping and how we grasp at relationships, things.
Specifically for people that are coming from families where somebody was an alcoholic, they are bound to dependency and codependency situations because all they wanted is for that member of their family to not drink. For example, my mother, who was an alcoholic. All I want is for her not to drink. So for me, her drinking was like I was not good enough. So I was dependent and codependent on that concept that my mom shouldn't be drinking. My mom is suffering and trying to help her and to save her. So it's easy to slip later on in dependency and codependency situations in your relationships once you're out of a family. It's just an effect, a lingering energy. If you love me, you're going to do this. If you love me, you're not going to drink. If you love me, you're not going to be late. If you love me, you're going to do this and that and the other. And it doesn't have to exist. This is a trap. You just love them. You can love each other and be separate. You don't have to say, if you love me, then. And a lot of times we do this unconsciously.
I think a big takeaway for me from this interview, Ana, is about switching energies and how you can stay in authenticity and also show appreciation for people in a lot of different ways so that you can be attractive in the way that you want to be attractive in different environments. Is there anything else that you want to add to that, or anything we haven't talked about in the interview that you want to make sure listeners hear?
So secrets of love is just one part of it. Just to understand, it's very easy to find the hurt people out there. When you are super, super happy, you're super happy and you don't need them. Like I am. I tell everybody I love you. And some people come and said, oh, thank you. Those people never heard it before from a stranger, from somebody that they just meet for a second in a grocery store. They've never heard it before. And then you know how hurt they were deep down inside. Or other ones that they know me very well. I have a guy who all the time I meet, it's like, I love you. You love everybody. Another level of hurt and pain.
So there's that resistance.
Exactly. He said, I love you. And somebody that's happy said, I love you too. I just discovered I love you too. And I don't even know you. It's totally fine. So that person is not going to put boundaries, is not going to be closed in, afraid of a word. Maybe you didn't even hug them. Maybe you just met them for a second. They're not closed in. So just think about it. Somebody tells you I love you, or you said somebody else I love you. Test this theory. Just test it and see who is hurt and who isn't. It's very, very simple to identify. And another way to identify people who are not hurt is they always smile. They have big eyes, like wondrous eyes, and open mouth. Open mouth. Another thing you have to watch specifically on a dating scene is how that person treats other people around, not how it treats you, because they're going to treat you the same way sooner or later. So there is a lot of little tricks on these true secrets of life and true love secrets. There is a lot of little tricks that can make your life better, because the truth is that a life without love is a sad life. And you don't want any kind of love and pain involved in this. You want true love in your life.
You've given us some suggestions and some tests to do. What about if you're on a first date? What's a good test for a first date? You shouldn't say, I love you, and see what happens.
Oh, I love everybody, even on the phone. I don't even see them and I say, everybody, I love you. Yeah, see how they take that. How do they answer? It's clearly an I love you casual. So do they answer the same? How do they answer to all this? It will show you the level of pain, the level of never being loved and not knowing how it is. It will show you a lot from just little things. Or how they smile. How they smile. They're always smiling. That tells that they're relaxed and they don't have to work on fooling you at the first date. But you need to know who they are. And if you don't know who they are, even after we discussed or after you learn about 4 men and women archetypes, you're going to notice that maybe they're balanced. Maybe you're balanced. And this is the person you need to look for. Somebody balanced that knows how to joke, knows how to play, knows how to be serious, knows how to make a plan, has a vision, has a place for you in their life. Because an airman will tell you that he has a place for you in their life, but he doesn't. Freedom is number one. Then it's business and money. Then it's friends. Then it's his mother. Then it's his ex-wife. Then it's his kids. And you're like number 7.
Oh my goodness, that resonates.
Exactly. And look like you're not number 7. You should have known before you get married and spend $40,000 on your wedding.
This is why I don't date any guys who play the guitar anymore.
Oh, that's the water element. That's the ones that they know how to play the guitar. They don't know how to open a business. And they expect the woman to sell their music or something on YouTube or whatever. So that's water element. So here you need to know, who do you want in your life, who you are and who do you want. Otherwise, you're just going to fail into traps and be more and more and more hurt, heartbroken, until at some point you're not going to even look for a partner.
Anna, this has been very helpful. Thank you very much for joining me today.
I broke some belief systems today and I got a couple of your people angry, but it's okay. When
Yes.
they figure out the truth.
We want to challenge people. We want them to think outside of what they're used to.
Yes. That's exactly why I have this podcast. And that's wonderful.
Ana Lennyer is a premier life strategist who specializes in helping teenagers and adults build strong and supportive family relationships. By addressing the root cause that holds people back, Ana removes any and all excuses and replaces them with reasons and opportunities. She hosts the True Secrets of Life radio show with Ana Lennyer, helping her audience prevent and overcome heartbreak, anxiety, and depression. Ana changes teens and adults' lives in subtle ways without lecturing, confrontation, or therapy. Her philosophy is simple: master the game of life so you will never be trapped in pain and hurt again. Her websites are truesecretsoflife.com, ANALENNYR, AnaLennyer.com. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please share it with a friend who you think will benefit. Do you have a question for me or a topic that you would like me to cover in an episode of the podcast? Reach out at contact@changesbigandsmall.com. Remember, change begins with one small step. Have a great week.